Indonesia's economic recovery is on a good and steady path as Indonesia saw economic growth of 5.01% in the first quarter of this year, which is higher than the economic growth of many other countries in Asia and elsewhere.
Indonesian Coordinating Minister of Economic Affairs Erlangga Hartarto says that Indonesia's economic prospects are bright at the moment, especially after Indonesia posted an economic growth of 5.01% in the first quarter. Minister Hartarto says Indonesia's growth was higher than countries such as China, Singapore, South Korea, and even higher than countries such as the US and Germany.
Perekonomian kita di kuartal pertama ini stabil, hampir sama dengan kuartal keempat 2021, yaitu 5,01%. Dan ini di atas beberapa negara lain seperti Tiongkok 4,8, Singapura 3,4, Korea 3,07, kita hanya di bawah Vietnam yang 5,03. Amerika Serikat sendiri 4,29% dan Jerman 4,0.
From Sri Lanka, where the Sri Lankan authorities deployed armored vehicles and troops in the streets of Colombo. However, the Defense Ministry's top official, Kamal Gunaratne, denied allegations of a military takeover.
Armored trucks with soldiers riding atop were seen rolling into some areas of Colombo, where the government is facing its severest challenge in decades as the country plunges into economic crisis and protests. Security forces have been ordered to shoot those deemed to be participating in the violence as sporadic acts of arson and vandalism continued despite a strict nationwide curfew that began Monday evening. Situation in Sri Lanka is in dire. A wave of violence across the country comes up after 2 days following pro-government mobs attacked peaceful protesters.
Well, the United Nations Human Rights Chief condemned the recent violence in Sri Lanka, calling for a meaningful dialogue between the government and the people. UN Human Rights spokesperson Liz Throssell says the High Commissioner condemned all violence and called for authorities to independently and also transparently investigate all attacks which have occurred. Throssell added that security forces should exercise restraint whenever dealing with protesters and act in accordance with human rights norms. She pointed to root causes which have long perpetuated discrimination and undermined human rights in the country's political system.
The High Commissioner condemned all violence and called on the authorities to independently, thoroughly and transparently investigate all attacks that have occurred. She says it's crucial to ensure that those found responsible, including those inciting or organising violence, are held to account. Authorities, including military personnel deployed in support of security forces, should exercise restraint in policing the situation and ensure that measures adopted in the context of the state of emergency comply with international human rights norms and not be used to stifle dissent or hinder peaceful protest.